Hey folks, I'm back in the saddle again, meaning I'm back to the gym after 12 days off. I felt pretty bad about that, actually. I just thought, how am I ever going to get back to that? But you know what? It wasn't as hard as I thought. I just did my thing and went a little less hard at points, just because I was mentally, always, for me, it's the mental. It's not the physical so much as the mental. I mean, not that I'm in that great shape that it's not the physical at all, but more so, if anything's going to give out, it's not my body so much as it is my mind, which, if you know me, you probably would say was very true. My mind gave out many years ago. Anyways, I'm glad that I got to the point where I could miss all that time and still just get back to my normal routine and not, find 5 million excuses not to go to the gym. I was pretty excited to go to the gym, so that's a real big change for me. If you've been watching my channel at all, you'll know that I went to Connecticut and New York and had a very interesting time. It was only 6 days away, but it really felt like a real vacation because I actually went away somewhere. So that was nice. I didn't have to drive for like 14 hours myself, which was really nice, because last summer I took the boys to Wisconsin Dells, which was awesome. The only problem being, of course, that my eldest son couldn't come with us because he was working. So that was sad, because we all said, oh, it would have been nicer with Spencer. And, but beyond that, it was just like, that's a lot of driving. And I enjoyed it, but it is very tiring. So the idea of going on a vacation where I don't have to drive for long periods of time, just get on a plane and then arrive, that was fun. New York, oh my God, if you've never gone, you should really try it. This country mouse really enjoyed it. It was mentally kind of exhausting too, because once I got into the city and learning about how to do things like take the subway and get places like that, that's a lot different than here. Here, everything is pretty much laid out on a flat surface, and there's a river running through the city, but other than that, there's not much to mess you up. And here, there's so many bridges, or in New York, there's so many bridges, there's so many ways to go, like uptown and downtown, like literally uptown and downtown, that it seems clear in a way. You're going uptown or downtown, but actually I've used those phrases, I think, differently than the people that set up that system use them. I remember when I was growing up in Selkirk and you'd say, I'm going to walk uptown. I didn't realize that was a weird thing to say until I remember I was talking with a friend and he's like, uptown? Where are you from? And I was like, oh, well, yeah, uptown. You walk uptown, don't you? Or is it downtown? It didn't seem like downtown. Anyway, New York, highlights, Grand Central Station. Well, that was part of it. Just because it's been in, I remember watching The Untouchables, and there's this really famous scene, if you've seen The Untouchables with Sean Connery and Kevin Costner. My God, there's this amazing scene. It's like a shootout, and they've got this big staircase, and there's a baby carriage going down the staircase, and Andy Garcia has to catch the baby carriage and before the poor child gets hurt, and everybody's shooting, and there's the staircase right there in front of me. I'm like, oh my God, it's the staircase. And the nerd that I am, I actually very much enjoyed. I got to visit the library, actually 3 libraries, one in Stamford, the Ferguson Library, one in Brooklyn, the Brooklyn Central Public Library, and the Manhattan Public Library. Oh my. Like, all 3 had their own little charming things. I have to say the Manhattan one was off the charts, because the reading room there, oh, I could sit there and write forever. And the best part is so many of these buildings have natural light. So you're sitting in this huge space in the Manhattan Library, and long tables, and you've got plenty of room to spread out on these tables, and everyone is encouraged to be super quiet, which, being the nerd that I am, that's what I like. My local library, it's like a lot of young families. So the idea of it being quiet, it's never going to be quiet. Kids are like, Mom, look at this. It's not a quiet library, and that's fine. But this is like specifically designed for people who want to study, do research, write. Oh my God. This was like catnip for me. I couldn't get enough. If I could have sat there for like 8 hours writing, but I went into Manhattan by myself to take a look around, and it just wasn't going to work for me to drag a laptop and all that stuff. It would just have been too much, and too much to worry about, you know, dropping it or having it stolen or forgetting it somewhere. So I didn't. But I would have loved to sit in that big area in the Manhattan Library and write all day. I love the big lions out in front, the big statues out in front. That was cool. Bryant Park, which is sort of behind the the Manhattan Library. Oh my God, it's so nice. I was walking through there in the evening. It was around 7 o'clock, and the sun's shining, and there's so many people out, and it was beautifully, not too warm. It was just nice. Speaking of warm, New York is insanely humid. New York, Connecticut, I don't know why I didn't realize it's on the coast. Like, stupid me, of course it's on the coast. It's on the eastern seaboard. I don't know why that didn't sort of click for me. It was just like, oh, it's a big city. New York is a big city. It's not a harbor town, but it is. It has a harbor. So when I got off the plane, JFK, I was like, oh my God, it's so humid. It's just like Halifax. It's just like the East Coast. And then, yeah, okay, it's just like it is the East Coast. So anyway, that was kind of a jarring thing for me. I couldn't quite believe that one. But yeah, the whole time I was there, just sweating and sweating and sweating. It was super, super attractive. I always like to go out places and sweat a lot because I find that attracts people to me. No. So anyway, that was a bit of a challenge. I drank a lot of water, which was good. I mean, it helped my skin, so that was good. I mean, I swear, if I lived on the East Coast, my skin would be so nice because I don't go out in the sun. And it's pretty good for 50. This is pretty good, I think. But if I had that plus a humid climate, oh my God, I'd be like the picture of Dorian Gray or the portrait. You know, I wouldn't age because if it's all humid there, the problem I have here is in the winter, it gets so dry. My skin gets so dry. So, yeah, New York would be much easier on my skin. But then I'd be sweating for 3 or 4 months every summer, so in spring and summer, so that's not good. Anyway, so that's the heat aspect. Subways, like I said, they're beautifully clean. I had this stereotype in my head of like subways being like disgustingly dirty and filled with graffiti and garbage, and they weren't at all. They were clean, they were air conditioned, they were comfortable. I was like, well, apparently I don't know what I'm talking about. So it was good. That was really good. And people were very pleasant, you know, like either they don't say anything or they're, you know, they're not bugging you or they're pleasant, one or the other. And either one of those I can take. There were only a very few people that were actually cranky or rude. I think maybe 1 or 2 in the entire 6 days. So, you know, for me, that's a good track record. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Everything is insanely expensive, but other than that, it's a very interesting New York. Stamford, I've already said, is a very pretty town. It's very pretty, green and lovely, and you know, it's just a nice small town. It isn't a small town, but that's the feel I got because I was staying in the center, the downtown part of it, and it was great. There was restaurants everywhere and little yoga places and bookshops or bookstores and all kinds of things. So it was really nice. But I have to say that the draw for me was New York City because it's New York City, you know, it's the city that never sleeps. It's all the different things that you can do there and see there that you can't really do or see in a lot of other places. I've grown up in this area for my entire life. I came here with my family when I was just a baby, so I don't know anything different. And to go somewhere that has so much activity and so many things to do Like, it just in some ways broke my heart, because I was reading things in the library and out in Bryant Park, and there was like, oh, next week we're going to have a concert series out here, and in July we're doing this, and oh, and the 4th of July. And I was like, oh, geez, why can't I stay here and do this stuff? Because here in Winnipeg, it's fine. It's great. But I've lived here my whole life. I want to try something new. I really do. I feel like, I've done my time. I can't take these winters anymore. I can't. Winter, okay, but 40 or 45 below winters, I can't do that much more or much longer. It's just mentally, it's, ugh. You see how it all comes down to the mental? That's what it is. It's all, your mental health is crucial. Let's remember that. Mental health is particularly crucial. Yeah, there's so many things that, well, funny story. Going into the States, I think, where was I? At the Calgary airport. Calgary airport? Yeah, I flew from Winnipeg to Calgary, right. And at the Calgary airport, you had to go through customs, and they have this automated system where you go to this kiosk and you declare whatever you're bringing in. You say, no, I'm not bringing in any money or ammunition or anything. Fine. And then they take your picture. Well, I'd seen that once before, so I was like, oh, okay. But I'm tired. It's like 4:30 or something in the morning. It's really early, and I'm not really functioning particularly well, although I am a morning person. But so I stand there, I look, I see some lights going on, flashing. I'm thinking, okay, well, that must be done. And I go, click. I have this beautiful photo of me going, oh. And then I say to the lady that's standing, the security guard or border guard, I'm like, can I just do this over? Because I can't handle, I can't have this on record. And she sort of smiles and shakes her head, and I'm like, ugh. So I get in line, and I have to hand it to a border guard. And he said, I said, this is really not a great picture of me, as I handed it to him. And he just sort of like, yeah, lady, I've heard this all before. But it was horrible. It reminded me, I've told people this story, and it reminded me of like Shrek and Donkey in the Shrek movies. And when they go to Duluth, and they're like, it's not a good look. It really isn't. And to have that commemorated forever, all I can think of is 30 years from now, maybe there'll be this picture of me going, it's not nice. I don't want to think about that. Anyways, that was kind of funny. What else? Walking through Bryant Park, there was a little Asian lady came walking opposite me. She had a whole sort of like, it almost looked like a mask. And it was in almost like wings, like butterfly wings. And it had parts going off it. It was made of green pipe cleaners. So I was like looking at her going, oh, but you know what? Nobody seems to react to anything in New York, which I've heard. They just sort of go, okay, well, that's life. That's probably a pretty good way of dealing with people. You can afford to be, you're allowed to be different and kind of oddball and kind of goofy, and maybe that's where I should be. God knows I'm goofy. Anyways, this is a very long, holy, who's going to watch this? Well, if you do, let me know. Please feel free to subscribe to my channel and push the little bell button there, or icon, if you want to get updates to see what else I'm saying that's kind of goofy. Okay, peace out. Bye.